I remember one time I was in the store with Kevin. This is like 3 years ago, but I'll never forget it. So we were in the Bendels. You know Bendels, they have really good like barrettes and stuff, and everything is glittery and sparkly, and you could get lost in there forever. So he's sitting down minding his own business, and I ask his opinion. I'm like, Kev, do you like this barrette? He's like, no, Mom, you're too old for that. You can't pull that off. I bought it anyway. I'm just like, well, I'm buying it. I just won't wear it around you. When I first started dating my husband, and I'm not going to dwell on this, but you read between the lines. When I first started dating my husband, it hadn't even been more than a month. And he had to lance a boil on moi. Anyway, you know what I mean? But when he sees me coming out here in full drag, at least he knows that if he does stuff like that, I can at least put it together and act like a lady. February, as you know, is Valentine's month, and we're kicking off First Kiss Month here on the show. I'm going to be asking the various celebrities who... Oh. My first kiss, I don't remember. I can tell you that growing up, I was very much, in my mind, the Wendy that you see today, but I just never had the permission to be, you know how sometimes you have to grow into yourself. So I don't really remember my first kiss, but I do remember my first night being with my now husband, Kevin, and our first kiss. And I don't remember the exact kiss. I just remember that it was on the first date. We did not have sex on the first date, and it was all about kissing and talking. And then I think we had sex on the second date. All of our Christmases when I was a kid were magical. I mean, I told you I went to bed until I was 12. But I also believed in Santa Claus until I was like 12, which is like, no. No. Okay? No. And my mom would meticulously wrap every gift with bows and the cards with our names. Now, you know, I have 2 other siblings, and then, you know, my dad and mom, the 5 of us, and everybody would have stacks of gifts and, you know, just everything going on. And I didn't grow up with a bunch of money and stuff, but my mom knows a good sale when she sees one. And she knows how to make her family happy. And then we would open the gifts on Christmas morning. And we would always also go to the mall to take those Santa pictures and stuff. So, you know, it's amazing that I'm such a Scrooge when it comes to like, to me, I feel as though every day is Christmas. I have great Christmas memories of Burlington County. My dearly departed Aunt Elizabeth, she lived in Burlington, New Jersey. And we would go to her house. Now, mind you, Jersey is 2 different places, okay? Because when I go to South Jersey, I'm like, where am I? North Jersey is totally different. It's weird. It's like one of the only states. No, California's like that too. You're in LA, and then there's the other people. You know? It's different. So anyway, my Aunt Elizabeth lived in Burlington with my Uncle Willie, and Aunt Elizabeth's Christmas tree was not like this. She made the Christmas tree, it had like all the lights like Rockefeller Center. But her final touch will always haunt me forever because, you know, I remember it so well. Do you know that cotton that you swath around the tree? The angel hair, I think they call it. And the tree would always be sprinkly and twirly and stuff. And then Uncle Willie was a sloppy smoker. You know a sloppy smoker. They smoke and furl their arms. Young Wendy walking past. Ow, Uncle Willie, you did it again. Ow, ow, ow. That's my childhood friend, Regina. Yes. And we're the same age. Our boys are both 15. We're both married. She lives in Cali, though, and I'm here, so she's in town. Reg's mom used to make snacks for us after school, and we'd watch General Hospital. Yes. And then when I got my driver's license, finally, my mom would toss me the keys and we would run. We'd do errands for her, like the post office and the bank, but we always stopped by for McRibs. And all that mess back in the day, just so weird. when she moved from California, right? So she always recounts this story. I apparently went up to you. I don't remember the story, but, you know, I was like, I'm Wendy. We're 2 black girls here. The other 3 blacks will call you white girl like they call me. So you and I are going to band together, and we're going to be friends with the whole town, but just be, right?
Right.
And 55 years later, here we are. I was bullied about 2 things. Number 1, being black, and number 2, being fat. And I know if I came home and I told my parents I was bullied about being fat, you both would have said to me that you need to lose some weight. You know, we've talked about this. You just were no help. And if I said that I was being bullied about being black, what you probably would have said to me is, you will always be a minority. Learn to deal with how to deal with it. And I never really bothered them regarding what was going on because I have an older sister and a younger brother. My parents both busy working, trying to pay bills. You know how sometimes as a kid you don't want to bother your parents about stuff?
So then...
We used to do this, Wendy.
I know, Mommy.
You're going to fold it in the center and just...
I can't believe that I'm on national TV crafting. Daddy, do you remember as a kid that I'd be in my room secretly crafting?
Oh, yes.
Bedazzling things?
Yes, yes.
For lack of friends? And being bullied and called fat by you and the rest of the family? I always felt like an outsider.
No, you were good. You were good. You
Good
used
and
to take
fat,
a
right,
denim
Daddy?
jacket and put sequins and everything else on it.
Good
It
and
was
fat,
custom made.
right?
No.
It's okay, all is forgiven. As a little girl in Jersey, we would summer camp every single summer, and I would love to go sleep away to get rid of 2 people. I'm playing, but just for a few weeks. The first woman to run for president, to my knowledge, was Shirley Chisholm. Shirley has since passed away. She happens to be a black woman from Brooklyn by way of Barbados. She was raised for a small period in her life by her Bayesian grandmother. In 1972, she put her bid in for the Democratic election, you know, for presidency. Didn't work out, but in 1968, she met a young girl named Wendy. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. In 1968, she became a congresswoman. She was the first black congresswoman ever in our country. In 1970, there was an organization in New Jersey, which still exists. It's called the National Organization of Urban Business and Professional Women's Incorporated, something like that. My mom at that time was the president of that chapter. It's a nationwide organization. My mom was president of the chapter, and they invited Miss Chisholm to speak at their big luncheon, you know, the big luncheon for the year. And so it's 1970. Okay, so Shirley speaks at this Shirley, not my mom, Shirley. They're both named Shirley. So Shirley Chisholm speaks at the luncheon, and after the luncheon, my mother had a little reception afterwards at our home. So a few of the club members were there, and I guess maybe she had some security with her and whatnot. Anyway, there was a whole festivities because this woman, this great black leader was in our home. And now look, I'm only 6 years old. My sister is 12. So, you know, a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old, they don't hang out. My sister was probably in her room being cool. My little brother was only 3, so he's probably taking a nap. And you know, if you're a middle child, you know, oftentimes we get left on our own, which is probably why we grow up so sassy and independent. So everybody's sitting around eating, you know, in the kitchen, in the dining room, in the living room and stuff, and Miss Chisholm happens to be in the kitchen, and they're, you know, having, like, everybody's having kitchen table talk. But I wanted to be in on it, and I'm 6 years old, and all I remember, and I remember this like it was yesterday, I go in the kitchen, I pull down the garage, the dishwasher door, and take a seat on the door. And my little fat booty crashed the door to the ground. But the point is that was my meeting with Shirley Chisholm, and she assured me I didn't do anything bad. Thank you. Just when you thought you knew everything about Nene Leakes, Star Magazine has exposed her criminal past. And here's another one of the mugshots. Not damn. Really? And here's a third mugshot. And what I got from all 3 mugshots is that I can't tell the difference between Nene's first nose and the nose job nose. Nene has been through some things in her life, and it's nice to see that she was able to look at those things and turn her life around. I mean, when you're young, you do stupid things, you know? I remember in 8th grade, I shoplifted from the Kmart in West Long Branch. Oh, please, don't. It's not something that you're proud of, but you learn your lesson. Like, I remember my parents, as opposed to, just, getting some hopjack lawyer, they hired a really good lawyer, which wasn't necessary because I was only in 8th grade. And, I tried to take some things out of the store, and they took me in the back. And then my parents made sure that I got the business, the cops coming in. I mean, in other words, it was treated as a bigger situation, and it scared the bejesus out of me. I was on, I guess you don't call it probation or parole, when it's only a couple of packs of gum. But I was on something for like a full year, and I had to check in with the lawyer, and I also had to turn my report card over. And I was threatened with, if I got anything lower than C's, then I'd be doing a little bit of time in jail. Well, which when I think about that now, in 8th grade, that was the perfect time to scare the crap out of me. And if my son, God forbid, was ever in something like that, I would do the same thing. Except I want, instead of like one cop, maybe squad cars showing up, to scare them. I don't know, I mean, I grew up with spankings. And in my house, my mother spanked me with that voice. And that, let me tell you something. And I was always like twice the size of my mother. But, basically, my yelling was never about anything bad. I wasn't a bad girl. It was usually about grades or something like that. And she didn't spank me with her hands because my mother always kept nice nails and nice jewelry. And she's smaller than me, and my meat is thicker and my bones are bigger. So she would grab the dish rag and sting me with it, or the ironing cord, and I would get it that way. She wouldn't spank with her hands and ruin her manicure. Hi, Mommy, love you. My father would spank my brother, and I am the spanker of little Kevin in our house. And I will tell you, I have not spanked him in approximately 2 years because I find that telling him I'm going to do things like take away laptop privileges, desktop privileges, Nintendo DS, MP3, XRKL, whatever that junk is, you take that junk away, and these kids, they DIE. Suzanne? I like your stands.
Thank you.
What do you want to roll?
Yes,
Shoe shopping?
I've become a sneakerhead. I've got 2 pairs now.
Now you have the orange ones, and now you got those.
And all the young girls are wearing me.
All the young girls.
And guys.
All the young girls wear those.
Yep.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
So, back when I was playing clarinet at the Ocean Township High School Band, and I had the big, hat and, that uniform, similar to like what Michael Jackson wore with all the, like a band uniform. I complained to my dad that my feet were hurting, marching and trying to play.
Yeah.
And I begged them to please get me some Stan Smiths. And they were very expensive at the time.
Oh.
Like, no, people don't, my parents are PF Flyers or something like that, But my mom and dad treated me to a pair of Stan Smiths, so I had my first pair back when I was in high school.
They'd be good for marching. Yeah. Thank you for noticing.
Yes.
They're comfy.
Yes. Everything old is new again. And how many checks you can collect per month. Oh, my God, that wasn't a fly. It was like a bat. Oh, my gosh. Did you see it?
Yes, it was here yesterday.
It was?
Yes, it's still alive. It crashed into me over there during yesterday's show.
It did?
It's big.
Really big. He's listening to mute. Oh, God, there it is again. Did you see it? It's so big. You see it. It's like a bird. Where is it? Have you ever gotten stung by a horsefly? When we were vacationing at the Playboy Club, back when I was only 10, my parents aren't weird, but that is a weird place to take for a family vacation. And I was on the high dive about to go in, and the horsefly came and stung me. I fell off the diving board and cried all day. No. Have you ever been bitten by another human being? Yes. I have. In my original childhood home, Wendy Williams Way, in Asbury, they renamed it. It's now called Wendy Williams Way. It's in Asbury Park, right? And we had these fabulous neighbors, and all the kids, this is back in the 60s when you can play in the streets until, your parents screamed down the street, and people weren't stealing kids, and you catching fireflies and having fun. And I thought that Tracy Johnson next door was just so cute. And you know how, like, when you're a young girl, a boy's not going to play with your dolls. So what do? We put on our work boots and go out there and throw rocks with the boys just because you want to be around the boy that you think is so cute, right? So Tracy, and I forget why he bit me in the stomach. I mean, we were rough, you know, but he bit me in the stomach. And no, there was no, like, tetanus shot or anything like that, you know. Back then, you just put on a Band-Aid and continue throwing rocks. You know, rock fights. I remember when I was younger and I was a Girl Scout and stuff, and they used to, you know, you go camping in the woods and stuff, and, you know, you either use the latrine, which, you know, has lye at the bottom, you know, the powdered lye, or you just go in the woods. And I always found it better, just go there. And what they taught you in Girl Scouts, this is when I'm a younger Wendy, is you wipe with leaves. Well, what I learned in later years, that leaves have ringworms. Exactly. No, I never caught ringworms from the leaves. I mean, I caught them from swimming in public pools before, but not from the... Yeah, it's ringworm season. You ever have a ringworm? Clap if you have. Oh, well. Well. You've had ringworms? Exactly. Why did you hesitate, though? Anyway, you get them from playing in leaves, you get them from swimming in dirty pools, and you can transfer them around your body. So when you get the worm, just sit still. Only time in my life that I, like, rocked braids for real, as opposed to, you know, when you go to the islands, you know, you might stop at one of those kiosks and the girls braid your hair and stuff. That's not what I call braid. I'm talking the poetic justice braids. I sat for hours. The girl put them in my hair, but my hair was thin. It was thin even before thyroid disease, before I started wearing wigs and stuff. My head, the entire time having them, was like... I could only... I couldn't sleep because they were pulled tight, and they got in the way of everything. Everything. So I only had them for 3 days. I had to get them taken out. I ran into a Wendy watcher recently, and I took a selfie. I don't make that a habit, but all of a sudden, in the picture of the selfie, I appeared with one of these things on my head, and I got frightened. Suzanne, I was frightened. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What is that? What are you doing?
Oh, yeah, there's an app for
No,
that.
I didn't know that.
Oh.
I didn't know that. She's like a 19-year-old girl. You know, Miss Wendy gets around.
Right.
And so I like the young girls and the old dolls. So the young girl put one of these things on my head, and I got frightened. It's National Selfie Day. First of all, who invented that? Kim Kardashian, she says. Second of all, so I tell Hot Topics, I'm like, you know, today is National Selfie Day. They go, I know. They said, we know. You know what they dug up? They dug up my first selfie that I ever took 200 weeks ago. No, it was 200 weeks ago. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I should have gotten out of the shadow. I don't like the selfies. But that was my first one. And ironically, they remembered it was 200 days ago. And I remember exactly where I was. We were on the Jersey Turnpike going to, where's that place that the Jersey Shore used to take place, the show? Seaside Heights. Do you know what? Please, don't make me turn in my Jersey card, but I have never been to Seaside Heights. And I still have never been to Wildwood. Belmar, 13th Avenue all day, that's me. That's me. Kevin Jonas and his wife, Danielle. Well, they're planning on making big money. I don't know about you. Not for all the tea in China would I want to make money this way. Renting out my house for some rabid Super Bowl fans for $20,000 a night. Okay, all money's not good money. Stop. I'm just not that one. I remember years ago, do you remember when they made that throwback movie, Cadillac Records? Yeah. Well, I was living in a particular area of New Jersey. I guess the houses all looked like throwback houses. I guess including ours, because we got one of the notes in our mailbox, too, from the production company. We would like to pay you to use your house. We're going to use this neighborhood for the movie. Well, I didn't have to think twice about it. Immediately in the shredder. You're not coming up in here. And mind you, the promise was they will put you in a house comparable to where you live and provide you with whatever you need and, of course, take care of the cleanup afterwards. That is not my kind of payday. All money's not good money. I remember, I used to go to a tanning salon, just to keep it fresh. And I got burned on my stomach. Well, I felt the burn happening at the time. I was stupid because I could have sued for $25,000 or $25 million, but I didn't. I'm not litigious like that, you know. But I ended up getting a tattoo to cover the burn, which ended up covering the tummy tuck mark. Oh, just a whole mess right here. The great thing about being a woman, do you ever rely on it to get you out of stuff? Like, I blame my husband all the time. Look. So I'm driving along, the music's loud, I'm minding my own business. All of a sudden, I see in the rearview mirror cop cars behind me. So I'm like, oh, crap. Everybody gets nervous. But I know I have license, registration, insurance, you know, everything is good. I know I wasn't speeding, but I know. Because he's in charge of the cars. And so I all of a sudden go into little woman mode. Yes, officer? Oh, my God. I don't care. You know, if you're secure to know that you're smart, then there's nothing wrong with faking dumb to get out of a ticket, okay? I am so like, officer, no, I don't know why my brake lights are out. Like my husband, oh my gosh. And then you start crying. My husband takes care of all this. I have no idea, officer. Oh, I haven't gotten a ticket since 1965. Suzanne, do you know who's here?
Who?
Straighten up.
Okay.
Okay. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Wendy, and she was a popular personality here in New York. But then my local WNYW Fox television station, they were doing some sort of thing where they were having, like, I don't know whether it was popular radio personalities or what. All I remember is that I did the morning news for 1 full week. And yes, I'm Wendy, and here now the news. And, you know, it was like I wasn't going to be hired. It was just something to do. I mean, it wasn't sweeps or anything like that, or maybe it was. I have no idea. All I know is that I had fun because at one point I did want to be a news personality, you know, as a young girl. And so there was a man, a very important man, who saw something in me. And, well, the rest of this mess is history. And this is his first time visiting us. Say hello to Lou Leone. Hi, Lou. And his friend Elizabeth. Yeah. New York boss. I don't like reunions. You know, radio stations could have a reunion. I'll be the only DJ who's not there. I am done with my high school reunions. Never been to a college one. Don't care much. Like, you know, I think the last high school reunion I went to was like in 10 years. And by 10 years, that was like 1992. You know, by 10 years, I was good. I was like, okay. Because first of all, about reunions, people's looks start to fall. And people start dying. And it just reminds you that you could be next. Now, I know it's April, and I know it is reunion season, but reunions make you happy, but in a weird way, don't they make you sad? In a weird way. I remember when I went to my 5-year high school reunion, it was like the best time ever because we were all just out of college, you know, 4 years for college. We were just out of college, still partying. Ow! Everyone was still basically on the same level trying to struggle and get a job, only I already was a DJ at that point, so I was doing well. But now people are dying. I don't want men at baby showers. Yeah. Now, look, maybe I'm a little old school this way, you know, and I've been to baby showers and also, like, engagement parties, not, you know, things that used to be all about women, that now the men are there, stinking up the joint. I don't like it. I mean, the only reason why my husband was at the baby shower, and he wasn't really there, is because we didn't have our baby shower until Kevin was, like, 3 months old. And I'll tell you why. Because, you know, I had all those miscarriages, and I didn't want to celebrate, you know, with him still in my oven just in case disaster happened afterwards. So I waited until we had the baby, and then waited until he was, you know, fresh and ready to be around, you know, my loved ones and, you know, friends. And we had it at the old original bookbinders in Philadelphia. So they had the upstairs was where we had the shower. And the only reason why my husband was there was because, and my father stinking up the joint. and my brother was because we got so many gifts that the guys had to go up and down the steps and put everything in the SUV. They didn't stop to take pictures. They weren't there pulling toilet paper or sticking those stupid bows on that dumb hat. You know, and even like when, you know, when you have your engagement party, what do? Your wedding shower? A bridal shower? It's called a bridal shower. I don't like to see men at bridal showers. I could barely stomach men at play dates when when Kevin was play dating. I like to sit around with the women and have coffee if it was in the morning, or, you know, a Diet Coke and a Kiki at the kitchen table. And I just, I love men, you know, and I don't have a type. But men have a time and a place, and it's not when us girls are clucking at the kitchen table. I didn't officially want to find out until, you know, I pushed him out, but I knew that I was having a boy because I had no morning sickness. Like only a boy would, in my mind, like a girl would give you a hard time. But I knew I was having a boy, and I felt kindred spirit with him because, you know, I had the 2 5-month miscarriages. Those are girls. They're up in heaven. I'll see them when I die. But look, not all. Not all. Don't cry for me, Argentina. I'm fine. But look, so I knew I was having a boy, and I knew he was going to have a lot of hair because my sister-in-law told me, because I had never had heartburn before in my life, but I had so much heartburn, and my sister-in-law, with her old wives' tale, you're going to have a boy. You're going to have a baby with a lot of hair. And I did. He had a lot of hair. But the boy, he was just so easy to me. I didn't throw up. He didn't give me a hard time. I was on the bed rest. The only problem was the weak cervix, so I couldn't stand up a lot. And it's like he knew, Mommy can't stand up a lot to be throwing up, or, you know, you might come out. And then he was turned perfectly. It was like 4 pushes, and there he was. And I said, I knew you were a boy. Mommy's boy. I have 2 friends who have birds. Not for nothing. You ever see a bird fly wild? Like, when I go to the house, they don't let the birds fly around. But in the airport, a lot of times you see, like, birds flying. And all I can picture is, yes, 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 oh, my wig. My wig. Have any of my co-hosts ever been pooped on by a bird? Yes! Or clap if you have. Oh, my gosh. I thought that was a rare condition. I've been pooped on. Left shoulder in a drop-top car, like we're racing along, and a poop. It got partially in my wig, and look, I didn't know what to do, so I cried like I was in kindergarten. I cried, and then started, but they say that that's good luck. And the older I get, the more I like nude. Like, like I'm right with it. I like naked. I wonder who was in there in the room. I remember when I posed naked, it was my husband and my glam squad, because, you know, they had to... And the best I could tell, the only airbrushing was on my bunion marks on my feet. But my husband was in the room. He was my posing coach. And then, of course, the photographer and my glam squad, and then maybe 3 other girls from my so there were maybe 8 people who saw me, and then maybe 5 people in the room. But I was like, let's do it. Okay, come on, let's go. I wasn't shy at all. And I didn't need the brown juice. I would have loved to have known her or met her or something. You know, I would have loved to have. Do you remember where you were when you found out that she died? Like, there's certain times in your life, I know that this is very random, you know, like for a different generation, they remember where they were when they heard about JFK. You know, for me, we were in Aruba, me and the Kevins, and I had gone into the room to get my now and laters to bring back out the Apple ones. I had gone back to the room to get my now and laters and bring back to the pool with the Kevins, and the TV was on, and I was stunned, and I cried like somebody that I really knew. Like, I cried. I was, like, riveted. Remember Leonardo DiCaprio dumped his model girlfriend during, forget her name, another model. There she is. I saw him in the club one time. Yeah. And it was when I just got there, so I was not nice. Yet. You know, they were going to get my bottles. Look, right? And so we're in the club, and he's sitting with one of his bros on like a low wall. So they're sitting, he's got on a baseball cap, it's pulled down real low. And he's sitting with just like maybe one or two guys. It wasn't an entourage, and there were no girls around, but the club was lit, like it was going on. And so I sit and I watch him like an animal in the wild. See, a lot of you all don't know how to watch celebrities. You're so eager to go up and take your Facebook pages and stuff. You know, that's corny. What you do is you sit back and observe. So you've got a story to tell. Who are they with? What do they do? How does he walk? So, right, look. And I'm sitting like as close to him as I am with Suzanne, right? But his back is to me.
Okay.
So I'm watching. And for about a half hour, he and his bros sat there just observing women around the club and getting into the club spirit. Once he was ready to be revealed, he ever so gently lifted up his cap, and within 30 seconds, bees were to that honey, honey. I mean, girls were clamoring to be around him like it wasn't just one or three, and they weren't thinking about his bros. It was all about Leo, and there were instantly about 15 of them in front of him and back of them. They were blocking my view, so I couldn't. But by then my drinks came and I was off it and on to my own party. Katie Holmes. This is probably where I could tell my Chipotle story again, right? I won't tell it, but you know what I'm talking about, right? When I saw Katie at the Chipotle up the street, I was getting the bean salad. She was by herself. I didn't want to fan out. Nobody recognized her. As a matter of fact, because she's more famous than me, but people recognize me. But no. I'll tell you why. It's the whole, that's a big bitch thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, like me, no, you know what? Because me and Howard Stern have talked about this before. Like, when you're real tall, what is the point in trying to hide? Like, people are going to see you anyway. Like, what is Wendy doing over there with polka dot pants and a green wig? Wendy, we see you. Anyway, but being fabulous. Thank you, sir. I had lunch at Fred's, with Andre Leon Talley. Yes. Now, you know, for those of you who know anything about fashion, you know Andre was the editor of Vogue magazine for 30 years of his life. He's also the he's like a curator of everything fashion. I mean, his best friend is a princess in Germany, although I couldn't tell that at lunchtime. I felt like his best friend. I mean, and it was only the two of us, like no extras. It was just the two of us, right? So I get to lunch, and Andre's already sitting there. Now, mind you, I invited him for lunch, you know. Just you know, oh, by the by, we met for the first time, like 3 weeks ago, in the banquette, over champagne at Naomi Campbell's party. Remember, I told you that, like, it was a really fabulous party, and I met Andre, and the next thing I know, Andre's, you know, calling and stuff. And so I said, well, let's go for lunch. And so we went for lunch. So I walk in, and he's already sitting. So he drinks his water bubbly. I'm not really a bubble, I'm a flat, but I didn't want to criticize, so I put up with the bubbles. And out of a blue bottle, I don't know the brand. Anyway, so we're sitting there, right? It's like a 2-hour lunch because we're luxuriating. It's Friday, the boy is in school, nobody has to work, and you know, I told you I have a 3-day weekend. So, first thing he asks me when I sit down, do you remember last week I was telling you that Jennifer Lopez and I whispered something about Mariah on the couch? For which I told you I would never tell you what it was. But Andre asked, so I told him. So we're sitting there, we're having a great time. I got on my leather jeans, I feel cool. I feel cool, right? Like 45 minutes into eating, and he'd ordered wine, and we both had salads, and we're just sitting, and the place is filling up. And I love department store eating because it's really like a ladies who lunch thing. Like, eating at a department store is totally different than eating at a restaurant. So 45 minutes into it, first of all, he's holding court with everybody. This man knows so many people. I was just a fly on the wall. People are coming over, hey, Andre, but each time he'd be like, and this is Wendy, and you know, but back to Andre, right? 45 minutes in, walks Vera Wang. Well, now, look, I'd never met Vera Wang. I wear her clothes from Kohl's. Yes, I do. So, I'm sitting there with Andre, and he's telling me all these juicy stories, for which none I will repeat for you. And I'm giving him juicy stories. Some you know, others you never will. And then Vera walks over, and they hug and stuff. And next thing I know, she's telling me she watches our show, and she loves it, and, you know, stuff. And so she's eating. Anyway, it was just, thank you, Andre, for the wonderful time. Vera, very, very nice to meet you. What a mess. I was socializing last night, which, yeah, well, I don't get out much. You know, I come to the studio, I go home, I mind my business. I go to the grocery store. I like grocery shopping. It's very therapeutic to me. It takes like 2 hours. I'm always reading the labels. I got my readers out. I'm, you know, got my calculator going, the whole bit. But last night, I socialized, and it was great because the fete was only from 6 to 8. I know that seems impossible, right? I was home before the 10 o'clock news. Okay, and where I went to Joan Rivers' celebration of her auction last night at Christie's. Yes, which is always weird. I've never been to Christie's. I'm not gonna play like I'm fancy, you know what I'm saying? An auction, all I see is on TV where the paddles are. And I'm like, I walk in, first of all I smelled was money. The people there, they were really very special. And ironically, they watch our show. Then I was like, okay, I watch TV. Where are the seats and the paddles? You know? But there were no seats and no paddles, but I got a chance to see a lot of beautiful stuff that Joan had and that Melissa is auctioning off. And I took a picture with just one woman because this woman really embodied the entire experience of what I was doing. And there I am. So I see her circling around, you know. I see her circling around, and I got my denim romper. Look, I'm just Wendy. I am who I am, and what? But, so, now look. So I see her circling around. I wasn't sure whether she was going to ask me to grab something from the kitchen, like maybe she thought I was help. I certainly didn't think that she watches our show. I just, you know, but she's circling. Finally, she comes over. She says, with a thick accent, I love your show. I know. I'm like, well, madam, I love your outfit. And so I say to her, would you like to come to the show? And she's with her friend, and her friend is yip, yip, yapping. But she was, okay, so she lives here in Manhattan on the Upper East Side. That's where the money is, right? And so she says, well, you're in Chelsea, right? I said, yeah. She said, I don't travel below 57th Street. No, I loved it. Look, I didn't look at it as a read. It was such a cute conversation between my slob behind and this dignified woman, Bethany Frankel. Is it safe to say she's been a bitch since we've known her? When she got her talk show and she came here to promote it and Ellen had signed her and stuff, she big-timed me behind the scenes, and she was just like, behind the scenes, you guys didn't see that on camera. I held myself together, but, you know, she's like, you know, I'm with Ellen now, you know. Oh, she called this a little show. That's behind the scenes, And then, when me and the dearly departed Antoine, my old wigologist, and Morel and Memsor, we had all gone to Anderson Cooper's for a cocktail party. And she walks in with Jason Hoppy. Well, it was no big deal. I was busy talking to Liam Neeson. Oh, yes? Oh, yes. Yeah. Anyway, So they walk in, and it was just announced that she was getting a 6-week sneak peek, and she was with Ellen and the whole bit. But instead of, like, I'd known Bethany before, but instead of the usual hellos, like, I'm nice. If you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. If you're mean to me, then I'm going to be mean to you. But if I gotta do some business on your behalf, I am an actress, honey, and I know how to act my way through anything. I'm in the party. Bethany shoots me the look, like, I'm about to get you. Kind of like that. But Jason also had the same aura about him. And so I tapped my glams, and I had to excuse myself from Liam, and we took the spiral staircase upstairs. It's a firehouse. So, yeah, Anderson lives in a firehouse. It was real cute and fun party, but Bethany definitely darkened it with Jason. Have you ever set a friend up with one of your man's friends? Well, let me tell you what happened. At least 18 years ago, and I will never do this again. Okay, so, you know, Kevin's got hot friends, and I've got single girlfriends, and this was almost 20 years ago, before the boy was born, before me and Kevin were... No, we were married at the time. Anyway, look, okay. I opened the door to the guest room, because I knock, nobody answers. Open the door, and what do I see? And how long had they known each other? Since the club the night before. And, you know, and what do you think he said about my friend to my man? She's fast. She's nasty, like, you know, and then I get the blame. Like, well, Wendy, if this is your friend, then who do you know? And why are your friends acting this way? I think that setting people up in your social circle is the worst idea ever. Because somebody does something wrong, and then it gets blamed on you. I hate to even say ex-husband. He was a sloth. All right. I was married to a sloth, and we met at the radio station, and he worked there and I worked there, and we were only married for 5 months. It was the worst time of my life. It took like 2 years to get divorced because he wanted something that really, and we have no real, anyway. I totally understand office romances because you spend most of your day at your job and you have so much in common with your coworkers, and then sometimes you talk to them about personal stuff going on at home, whether it's with your kids or your spouse or whatever, but you talk to your coworker. The thing about office romances that get in the way is when the romances don't work out, somebody always acts childish. And I'm not saying who did in my particular situation, but let's just say it wasn't me. And it got so bad, I told you this already. Radio management came to me, they're like, what do you want us to do with him? Because I was making the ratings, and he was... But I'm like, no, let him breathe. Let him breathe. Like, I'm mature, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to go to hell, you know? You don't want to do somebody bad if you don't have to do somebody bad, even when you hate the person. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, don't get rid of him. Just keep him around. It's something for me to laugh at. Jessica Alba, you know, is worth like $1.5 billion. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Has nothing to do with the movies. It has everything to do with her honest company. So Jessica has her $1.5 billion, and she's doing great with her .com thing, kind of like Gwyneth Paltrow, except not so mean. So now, Drew, you know, she's got Olive and...
Frankie.
Pickle. Oh,
Frankie.
And Frankie. Condiment names. Drew Barrymore rings up her friend Jessica. Ring. Girl. I don't know that that's how they talk, but... Girl, I need some advice. I'm about to get my .com started, and I want to know what your recommendations are. You don't give away all your trade secrets. Like, that's like if you wanted a talk show. You know, I'll give you a few breadcrumbs, but I'm not giving you the mojo.
Oh.
And it's not about being insecure. It's about, look, I worked very hard for this. Nobody gave it to me. Nobody, like, I come from working class people in Jersey. Nobody gave me breadcrumbs. As a matter of fact, I will never tell you where the shade came from, but it's come from, like, pew, 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 pew. I'm dodging shade all day. You know, when I was starting out with this talk show, we had to figure it out ourselves. You know, me and my team, my husband, our son, you know, we had to figure it out ourselves. So I don't take too kindly to people asking me for advice about stuff, because I'm like, I had nobody to ask, and I'm not passing on the mojo because I'm not dead and I'm not ready to retire. I've got an older sister, Wanda. Wanda has taken the brunt of everything. She's the one who's always had to be in my parents' absolute box of perfection. By the time I came along, anything goes. Like, I ran off to college. I majored in radio. You know, my parents had no idea what I was doing. They just always knew it was off to the left of whatever, you know, Queen Wanda was doing. And that was great, because while she was trying to be perfect, I'm over here doing this, which all led me to dress like a streetwalker on daytime TV. Butt out. She does it like no other. Jennifer, doggone you. And Casper. And your kids, and Mark, and your housekeeper. So I have very vivid dreams. By the way, I talk in my sleep. Yeah, no, you can imagine. So I'm talking in my sleep. Jennifer, I for some reason was teleported out to your house in Long Island, and you and Casper and the kids were there, and you and I sat on the couch with our, you know, legs crossed and no shoes because the floors were black wood, and we made. Your housekeeper made us lychee martinis, and then she disappeared. It wasn't like a whole, look. And I tried to wake up from this dream, but I couldn't. And when I finally did wake up, you know, like 2 a.m. to get a little water, go to the bathroom, and go back to sleep, I was right back at your house again. Like, I couldn't shake it. And Casper loves her, everybody. I am telling you, I was at the house. Look, Casper loves her. And she loves him, and he was throwing Emmy and Max in the air, and then next thing you know, Mark Anthony showed up with a pack of cigarettes. Well, he smokes, and so he went out on the veranda and was smoking his cigarettes and stuff, and next thing you know, Mark is gone, but Casper and Mark got along really well. But anyway, so Mark is gone, and we're all watching Judge Judy in a very well-appointed living room, like overstuffed couches and the black floor again, beautiful throw rugs. Everything was beautiful, but like really homey in Jennifer's house. And so we're drinking our lychee martinis. Next thing you know, the housekeeper comes over with trays of food. Trays, like TV, like trays, like back in the 50s. Trays of food, you know, the trays with 4 legs. And look, it was salmon, and mixed vegetables. It's that peas and carrots mixture. And some of those, you know, Asian noodles that are, they're white and they're crunchy. And I could not get over what good eaters Max and Emmy were, because most kids at that age aren't good eaters. They used a knife and a fork and they squeezed lemon. But I say all that to say, Jennifer, when I woke up this morning to come to the studio to do this show right here, I woke up to still being in your house. You occupied my entire sleep. And I'm telling you, but I say all that to say, Wendy watchers, I'm telling you, from what I observed in the house, they will be getting married. Yes. Sometimes my dreams do come true. They will be getting married. I swear to you, I had a dream. All right, well, I do think that they're going to perform together. It's not confirmed, but I swear to you, I had a dream 2 nights ago that I just finished doing the show and went to a party right after. And I was in the stairwell waiting to get into the party. And there's Jay-Z standing right here, like we're shoulder to shoulder. I say, hey, what's up? For some reason in my dream, you know, I dropped my regular speak and tried to turn cool. Hey, what's up? And he said, you know what's up. I said, well, well, yo, like I was talking all yo to him. I was like, well, yo, I'm really happy that you and B, I never call her B in my real life. I'm really happy that you and B are going to be performing together at the Grammys. He said it was supposed to be a surprise, and you said it on your Hot Topics. And he was mad, and then he walked away. But because I had that dream, I know that they're going to be performing together. I had the craziest dream last night about two people I don't even know. All right, so I was in Nevada, and I had to catch a flight. I was in a hotel, but I had to return a car or something like that, and it was only me. Like, my Kevins weren't there, there were no friends there, nothing. And I'm walking around in the lobby, calling my friend Mark Clark, who was my best friend in college. Hey, Mark, how you doing? I was calling my friend Mark Clark, and I'm like, Mark, where are the car keys? What are we gonna do? I mean, what am I gonna, this is coming back to me. And so I'm pacing, walking around, and I can't stay still in the room. I walk to the lobby, and John Elway is sitting there. The football player. John Elway is sitting there with a cup of brown juice, you know, like the brown liquor. And he orders me one, and he's trying to hit on me, but not in a bad way. But I'm like, John, I don't have time for that. You know, I'm pacing back and forth looking for the car key. I'm so pissed because Mark doesn't know where the key is. I can't find the key. I'm about to have to buy this Focus. or whatever it was that, you know, the car was. So I go back to my room, and I slam the door, and who is on the bed? Not in the bed, but on the bed, flannel pajamas. Michelle Obama. So, Michelle is on the bed, the TV's going. Somehow, I was transported into having flannel pajamas on also, but all I wanted to do was go to sleep and figure out how I'm going to pay for this rental car while still making my flight, because I was talk show Wendy in the dream. I had the talk show. And Michelle would not stop talking. Finally, I had to say, look, Michelle, I'm going to sleep. And I gave her the back, and she sat on the corner of the bed and continued watching TV. Dreams, they're funny.